Welcome to the show. I'm Josh.
And I'm Grant.
And this is the Peelin podcast. Down in there.
I don't.
No.
Damn it!
No.
Ah, what the? Dude, today sucks. This has been the worst day ever. Can't catch shad, can't catch catfish. They got rid of the nachos, and my bang's warm.
Good. All right. Welcome back to the Peeling podcast. Thanks for tuning in to episode 5 of the program. How we doing tonight?
I'm hanging in there.
Yeah.
Long day at work.
Looks like
we're good.
Yeah, I think we both had two
Long day at
challenging
work.
day. Yeah. Grant's taking a sip of drink again. Hopefully we can't
out of the
hear it on the microphone.
Out of the UPS water bottle.
Yeah. I think I spent a day rolling around on the ground trying to make people's exterior of their houses look better, and Grant was delivering to those houses. So,
And I've started intermittent fasting, which makes the end of your day extremely tiring.
yeah, and I need to start intermittent fasting, which also makes the end of your day very tiring. So, that being said, have you done any fishing lately?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Let's see. Middle of last week, hooked up with Braden and went. Got a random day off from work, and we hooked up, went bass fishing. Pretty slow, even though it was on a warming trend. Kind of thought all the conditions were going to line up good to catch them. That didn't exactly happen. We did catch quite a few fish. We did all right, but the last couple times I've been out there, pattern I've noticed is that last hour of light. They, even if it's cold, somebody's probably cruising around trying to eat.
Yeah.
And I caught one that was a little over 7 pounds. Literally the last fish we caught.
All right.
And then this past weekend hooked up with Connor and went bass fishing. Tested out a few of his. If you've been following my Instagram, or you've probably seen me sharing his. He's a really, really good bass fisherman, but he started a custom bait painting, Leading Edge Customs on Instagram, and hooked up to do a little product testing.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did pretty good. We probably caught, 15 or so.
Yeah.
All on stuff he painted, so it was pretty wild.
I'm glad Connor's really good at doing that painting stuff, because it makes it a lot easier to support somebody when they're really good at something. Not like starting a podcast and being 5 episodes in before you figure out how your audio works.
Yeah, every now and again, though, you are right with, like, there's a lot of people that we know that we're not trying to be mean every now and again if we don't, like, acknowledge it, but...
Well, I don't even think it's...
Sometimes people will send you things like, hey, man, I started a custom bait company, and it's just, like, neat.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's just one of those things. Like, people started as a hobby, and then, it expands beyond that, and it's... Yeah. Some of them are really good, some of them aren't so good, but when it comes to supporting your friends, it's always good when they take it serious and they're actually good at it. So.
Yeah, Connor is extremely talented.
Yeah.
Like I said, Leading Edge Customs on Instagram. He can paint anything you want. He does repaints of old baits you've got, or he can get his hands on blanks and do new baits as well.
Yeah.
But, so we did pretty well on some crankbaits and some jerk baits that he painted up. I think we had a little over a 25-pound bag between the two of us. So.
That's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff lately. It's, as someone who does that type of thing as a profession, he's definitely...
Yeah, he's got it dialed in.
From my opinion, he's doing really well at it. So
watching his reels, though, he's not OSHA approved because he's not always wearing a respirator.
Connor had a great bait company until he died of silicosis of the lungs.
So wear your respirators, kids.
Yeah. No, Connor's solid. He'll figure it out. Or he'll die. I don't know. Either one. I got out to do a little fishing. I chased, since our last recording, I chased the brown trout for a little while. That's as frustrating as ever. If you...
I was to say, how fruitful was that? I already know, but...
Yeah, I caught a three and a half pounder. Not close enough for Virginia trophy size, as we've harped on before. If you don't know what we're talking about, Virginia has trophy qualifications for their angler recognition program. I'm trying to finish out that program with my last 6 species, brown trout being one of them. Super difficult to do in the state of Virginia. The requirements are 5 pounds or 25 inches. It's tough. Yeah. Especially on a year in which it seems like
not a lot of browns are getting put in.
Yeah, the state stocking for brown trout seems like they're lower than in years past. So
significantly.
I've resorted to buying nymphs and getting into fly casting and actually trying to catch them that way. So that's my plans for this upcoming weekend. But did that, fished for some striper, hybrid striper, had limited success, but didn't find any of the fish that I needed of that size. So just getting to that point in the late winter, early spring where you're like stabbing at everything because there's so much to chase right now. You're just trying to figure out like what the best move is, I guess.
And we have this weird like warm spell that we've been on for 2 weeks now, so it makes you want to do a lot of stuff. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like the cherry blossoms are out right now, I think. Trees are budding. It's
weird.
It's typical Virginia spring where it's like 70 degrees all week.
What do they call it? Like Indian summer or whatever, where you have the really warm winter?
I don't know, fall spring, something like that.
that.
But yeah, Virginia's usually good for one of those once a year. So before we're done with February, we'll probably have
March will blast us.
Yeah. When I was in high school, it snowed in April. I remember that.
I remember working at the golf course and it snowed in April.
Yeah, I was in the hospital trying not to die from a blood infection, and I looked out the window, it was snowing, and I thought I was hallucinating. So it was good stuff. But
this is it.
Well, this is not how I expected to go out. Unfortunately, I lived, so I'm sorry. The depression is as strong as ever. All right, well, let's move into let's move into some fishing news. I'll let you go first. We have a super popular occurrence in the fishing world lately.
Yeah. We've talked about this lake before. O.H. Ivy, steady pumping out giants down there in Texas. Let's see. Yeah, this fish. I'm trying to find the guy's name.
Jason
Kahn. Yeah, landed a 17.03 pound Sheralunker. This is actually the 642nd Sheralunker and the 8th heaviest ever caught in Texas. 6th heaviest Sheralunker program, or donated to the program. So the only thing that we actually just talked about it, I mean, 17.03 is massive. Supposedly when they weighed it on the boat and the first time they weighed it, when they weighed it at a ramp or at a shop, wherever they got it weighed in, it was like 17.18. Mm-hmm. And then by the time I think they weighed it a couple times, and 17.03 was what it settled on.
Yeah, so I did a quick write-up on it for the Have Rods Will Travel site, and apparently they weighed it twice prior to the official weighing. It weighed 17.18, which would be the new lake record.
Yeah.
But they put it in a live well. It threw up like 2 shad or something like it was something to that effect. But it ended up officially weighing 17.03. I think
17.06 is the record for the lake.
Right. So that's
and the state record is 18.18.
I have
18.18.
Right. I have no doubts that the Texas
That's
state record
broken.
is going to go.
Literally any day. I mean, it could be this year. If it's not this year, it'll be next year.
Well, it's interesting, like, what the world of live scope and active target and all that has, like, opened up now. Because now, like, a giant fish can be caught anywhere. Yeah. I mean, Virginia's state record's 16 and some change, but, like, I could very easily see somebody taking live scope to one of our lakes here and replicating that type of thing.
Listen to this. The 1703 was Sheralunker number 642. The lake record 1706 was Share Lunker number 620.
Okay.
And the state record largemouth for Texas was Share Lunker number 105. So there's been 520 fish from the Share Lunker program caught since the like state record was weighed in. And there's still, I mean, it's still pumping out 17 pounders.
Well, and all those fish are going back too.
Yeah.
So it's like that. The Texas state record is out there a few times over. I've said it plenty of times with Texas's state record and our own. Like, those fish exist. It's just whether or not you're doing the right things to catch them and whether or not you're going to do the right things to actually successfully land them. I have no doubt that people are implementing active target and live scope in Virginia right now. Like, these bass state records and state records in which you can utilize live scope, I have no doubts that state records are going to start falling simply because of that. Because you're targeting a fish you wouldn't normally have a direct connection to. So it's interesting stuff. And the same goes for the world record and a bunch of other world records. Like 22 pounds, like, it's huge, but it's not that far of a jump when you're talking about upper teens fish.
The thing is, I mean, just listen to like how the Share Lunker program works. I mean, it's crazy that Texas, I mean, it shows you that Texas is trying to essentially possibly grow like a world record largemouth. Yeah. They're trying. This is like during the 3 months of what they consider the prime season, January through March, anglers who reel in a 13-plus pound bass can load it to the Texas Parks and Wildlife for the Share Lunker Selective Breeding and Stocking Program. These anglers call the Share Lunker program at number 903-681-0550 to report their catch 24/7 through March 1st. Right. An officer or a biologist will respond to any call. Anglers who catch and donate a 13-plus pound lunker earn legacy class status, a catch kit filled with merchandise, a 13-plus pound decal for your vehicle and boat, VIP access to the Share Lunker annual awards, and a replica mount free of charge.
Yeah, that's legit. I'd do it just for the fish mount.
I mean, they're giving out a free replica. Oh yeah, and your legacy class fish is entered in the drawing each year. First place, if you get drawn, wins a $5,000 gift card.
That's solid.
So, I mean, you get all that stuff and a chance at winning $5,000 to Bass Pro just for turning your fish in. I mean, that's all the incentive you need to not just kill that fish yourself and hang it on the wall.
Just for doing something you're probably already going to do, which is targeting those fish. Yeah, dude, it's Texas is advantageous because it has what Florida doesn't have. Florida has those bigger fish, but it doesn't have the deeper water.
Yeah.
You don't have lakes with...
Yeah, we're seeing that now, too. Florida isn't producing the Texas fish. Like,
no.
Texas is definitely fish a lot bigger.
Florida has the big fish, but it doesn't necessarily
Florida's got the genetics, but doesn't have the habitat.
Right. It's all fairly shallow.
Yeah.
Like, those fish are probably eating more terrestrial, like frogs and stuff, like bluegill and stuff.
Their problem is their water is so hot for so long that you have the bass metabolism and fish metabolism in general slows down when it's too hot and when it's too cold.
Yeah. Well, you got the Florida genetics and everything that goes along with that. Then you have the California, like, deep water fishery. Texas kind of is a merger of both. So you're going to see a lot of big fish coming out of Texas.
California pumps out a lot of big fish, but not anywhere near like Texas, though.
Yeah. Well, I would say moving forward anyway. But definitely, I mean, that's blown up the fishing world here lately. It's one of the largest bass caught in, that Josh Jones caught the 1706 last year out of OHIV. But it's not... We're going to see a state record / world record fish within the next year. It wouldn't surprise. Maybe not world record, but definitely state record quality for Texas is going to be coming out.
Yeah.
So, my fishing news comes from the IGFA, as it normally does, and this one's local to us. We were just talking about this type of thing not too long ago. Alexandra Hall was fishing the James River in Virginia on December 4th, 2022, when she landed this impressive 63-pound blue catfish. With this fish, Alexandria could potentially set both the IGFA women's 20-pound line class world record and female junior world record for the species.
Huh.
The massive cat ate a cut bait. It's weird. It's very clearly shad. This massive cat ate a cut bait and was landed after a 10-minute fight. This record is currently pending and under review. So there's a photo of that fish. It's pretty cool, man. I'm surprised more, like, with the direct access to blue cats, I'm surprised more people aren't taking their children out to break these records or women's records. A lot of those records are light or vacant, both on conventional and fly tackle. So
not even mentioning like length records.
Yeah. That's a whole other box of worms we could open up, but just super cool to see. I mean, you don't have very many blue cat records getting broken.
No.
I mean, the line class stuff for men's is pretty highly competitive, and it's
and all the guys trying to break them live here, pretty much.
Yeah, we're in the Virginia Anglers Club here in Richmond, and I think maybe 3 of our members have a world record within
the blue cat line capacity.
I know Bob Shepard has, I think, the 2-pound record. I forget who has the 4-pound.
I know Rob was chasing the 4-pound record for a while.
Yeah, and then Steve Knox has, I think, the 6-pound record. I think the 2-pound record is like 33 pounds, and then it immediately jumps up. Like 4-pound is like 54 pounds. I think 6 pounds is 60 something. So yeah, it immediately like skyrockets. So the men's records are highly competitive, as you'd expect. But a lot of those female and junior angler records are pretty obtainable. Yeah. So just something to think about if you're interested in getting into those line class records. But moving on, we're going to touch on some new product from Yak Attack, a company that we both are supported by and fish a lot of their products, and that is the
we actually have them here. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see them. This is actually, I think it's the same product we touched on last time. The Duo. I don't think it was live yet, but it's the H-Rail Duo Mighty Mounts from Yak Attack.
Duo rail adapter.
Yeah, Duo rail adapter. So the Hobies, if you don't know, they have, most of them have the H-Rail on them, which is a 10-sided rail system. No other company that I've seen is making mounts for it other than Hobie. Right. So you have to buy a Hobie mount, and they were making a setup where you pop the little like pin out and replace it and put a Yak Attack product on there. Like that was all well and good, super clean, but like now you can directly mount Yak Attack products with their spline system right to a traditional Mighty mount.
Yep.
It's 2-part mold, very solid super heavy duty plastic. Good like interlocking pieces to where you're not getting any play. And they're through bolted. I mean, I mounted 4 of them on my Pro Angler the other day, and they are solid.
Stainless steel hardware, so you don't have to worry about corrosion and all that stuff. Comes in the familiar Yak Attack product packaging that we all know to expect from them. It comes in a 2-pack, so that's cool. So
I think you can get them in a 1 or a 2-pack, but I think 2-packs save you a little bit of money.
Let me see that. Yeah. So if you're watching this, which is going to be better for your entertainment value in segments like this. If you're listening, thanks for listening. But if you're watching, you can see this being called the Duo Rail Adapter. It is 2-sided, so on this side you can mount a product, and on this side you can mount a product. So if you have it, say, going along your Hobie H-Rail, you could have a camera mount and a rod holder, or 2 rod holders, or whatever.
I've got the way I've got them on mine right now. I've got the one all the way to the front of the H-Rail is up and down, or up and down, So I really plan on just putting one thing on that one because the underside, you're blocked by the hull.
Right.
But the ones that are closer back to my seat, I have them side to side, so I might put rod holders on those.
Yeah, so you can use like the Roto Grip paddle holder on the outside. I mean, that's the cool thing about this is being that almost all of Yak Attack's products are modular. You can do pretty much whatever
I've seen
you
a
want
couple
to.
people take them already and put 2 on the H-rail facing out and put 2 paddle holders on them, and you can hold your paddle outside the kayak like that.
It's solid. And the other cool thing about it, too, is they've manufactured it for the H-rail and for 1-inch square tubing.
Yeah.
So you don't have to just use this for Hobie. Say if you have like a pontoon boat or something along those lines, you can use it.
Yeah, that has the rails going around the outside.
You can utilize it for that as well. But super stout. Can't wait to actually utilize them in the kayak.
Yeah.
But super cool stuff. What was the MSRP? I want to say it was like $20.
I think 2 of them are like $23.99, something like that.
Yeah, so
right around the $20 mark for 2 of them.
Right, but it's just the newest thing in the kayak fishing world. Yak Attack, as we've seen today, on the team page, they have some more products that they'll be rolling out soon. So be sure to keep an eye out for those coming up. Yak Attack really seems to be making a push on
this year.
Yeah. Putting more product out into the market. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're just so solid. I put 2 of them on there, and like the old Hobie attachments for the H-rail, they're great. Like you could adjust the tension on them and twist them if you have to, but those things. I mean, you could pick the boat up with them too. I mean, that's Well,
it's
super
cool
solid.
that
they did say like out of all the stuff they've been asked for in the past couple years, this has by far been like number one. Some way to attach Yak Attack product to the rail. With a Yak Attack holder or adapter.
Well, it's cool that they are now hitting the market, and we got some now because shad season's right around the corner.
Yeah, they'll get used here in about a month.
Blue cat fishing is right around the corner, and we can utilize all the cool stuff that they have sent us to fish with. So, before we get into any more of this, I'm assuming we'll do the fish talk segment and then talk about everything else we have to talk about today.
Yeah, I feel like our subject of the day will probably be fairly long.
Yeah, well, the last 2 podcasts have went near 2 hours, and I don't think we need to be making that a habit. So we'll go ahead and get the Fish Talks segment going. If you happen to be listening to this, we've gotten some feedback. Don't listen to this part. Watch it. So go to YouTube and watch it. If you're listening right now, don't do that. Fast forward to the part where we're not talking about this anymore. That's the best thing I can. It's the best thing I can offer you. We're filming and recording this. If you're listening to it, you're just gonna hear a bunch of weird videos, and I don't know how else to rectify the situation. But so we'll get into some fish talks here. Go ahead and let me know when we hit about 8 minutes. I don't want this to run super long. I think one of our last segments was like 13 minutes long. That's
sometimes it might drag a little bit.
Probably hard to listen to for that long, but let's see what we have here.
It's not every day that you get to see an
the majority of these
from the ocean with a barracuda and its talons. And
But
just wait for that
a bird we are familiar with,
talons into this barracuda's
the
belly.
osprey,
Lights off
coming
for
to
the
Richmond
fish.
and wreak havoc. It's a barracuda. So fast forward real quick. Yep. Hold on. Okay. It's weird. The audio cuts out every now and then. I don't know why. Okay. 48 miles an hour. No, 48 degrees, 22 miles an hour. This dude is running up to a dam.
Hooked up this morning. Got some weight to him, too.
Gets hooked into something pretty solid. Fast forward.
On the bottom.
It is a
Ultralight reel.
giant striper.
Took me about 2
So
hours
that's pretty solid.
to
I
get
would have
this
loved to
fish
have
in.
found one of those the last couple days.
What a fucking butterball.
Cool. So I'll probably
Oh
have to
my
bleep
God.
that out.
God, that thing's fat.
It's another good fish right here. A
11 large, 1 pound large.
yeah, giant.
We're gonna let her go, fellas. That's a hee-haw kind of day.
Yeah,
Put her mouth in the water, baby.
That's pretty.
That's a hee-haw kind of day.
Listen.
Look how fat this thing is. Look, fellas. Gone. Damn donkey, son.
Damn donkey, son.
This guy, I don't remember if we've seen this video or not before, but so
Oh, God.
yeah, this dude ate it. You know who this guy is? He's one of those dudes that fly through the forest, going like 50. Yeah. Well, he finally hit something.
Yeah,
I scrolled through
see
this.
what happens when you hit something.
Yeah, I scrolled through this dude's videos. He had one of these John boats with like a 90 tiller on it. So yeah, just.
Did you do that racing where the dude's up on the front, like?
See that? That's
Well,
the
apparently
last
didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, you get to reuse that live bait.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
This pike just comes up and tries to smoke this live bait. The dude scoops it out of the water.
Reel is literally smoking.
Oh, I saw this one today.
Oh my god. Dude, I've never seen that.
Nothing beats that sound.
And I know
And that's the
that's right,
static
dude. I
drag,
felt it
too.
earlier.
That's the best sounding drag.
Things getting smoked. Literally.
It's the Midwest tuna fishing.
Yeah. I think it was a big steelhead or a
I think it's a
salmon
big
or something.
coho or king salmon. I can't remember.
There's literal smoke coming off of that bitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Reel is
giant.
literally
Big old
smoking.
On like a
king salmon.
2500 series reel.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
Oh, this is just some nightmare fuel. Yep, don't know why you do that. Just imagine falling into that. You're dead immediately. Oh, that was... This is a dude wiping out on a motorcycle. What's supposed to be? Do you want to watch it? It's It's actually hilarious. First off, he's listening to Elvis. He's doing the typical Harley thing where he flies around acting like a jerk. You know those things where you're like, does the music keep playing after a car accident?
Oh, God.
Wait for it. Wait for it. Yes, it does. Talk about the most embarrassing thing you do. Wipe out on your motorcycle with Elvis playing at full blast. Good job. Yep. Just some giant whales breaching in the background and people ruining the shot. Good stuff.
Start that one over again? Oh, wait, your mind's still playing.
Yeah.
People just walking by. While they're just like walking by. These whales.
Just not paying any attention to these massive whales
Yeah.
off the beach.
Walking by.
Yeah, they're like breaching out
We saw them do that once at Virginia Beach, like in the summer. It was a
Yeah.
big humpback whale that was in the area, and they biologists like went out there and studied him for a while.
there. Well, it's good to see that there's still living whales in the ocean, given
Yeah.
everything
What's
that's
been going
happening.
on.
Yeah, it's like whales are washing up all the time. It's ridiculous.
Anchor came loose. Noah's back here shitting.
Anchor cable is dude's
Loose.
taking a.
Noah's back here shitting.
So that's good.
I'm just trying to get some late season
This
bass
is
here.
a
The
good
only
one.
problem is the shoreline's fucking melted. So we're just gonna do a leap of faith here.
Good stuff.
This is William, a
Oh, this
random
is
guy
pretty
that I
cool.
met on the water. He pulled up to my boat and I asked him, "Hey man,
You want to try to catch one?
yeah." So I tied his boat up to mine
Have you
and
seen
helped
this
him
yet?
hop on.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Still got a little bit left for old man.
There you go. Within the first 3 minutes of us fishing, he ended up hooking into the biggest fish of his life.
Did you get him? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
It's just,
Look at it.
Oh my gosh. Get him to me. Get him to me. Oh
This is by far the best moment I have ever had.
It's pretty
This
cool.
is William, a random
Yeah.
guy that
yeah, you sent me that.
Yeah, I sent you
Yep.
that.
The
Gulper
joys.
catfish ate an arowana that was twice the size.
Yeah, good stuff.
I told Gary he had the new idea of a new lure, and he had built it because he had a old ballpoint pen. And he stuck it in
Which
the
I've
mold.
never
So
realized
that's how he
looks
did it
just
with the
like a
ballpoint pen that he originally made the mold out of. And he handed me one, and I said to Gary, I'm a professional fisherman, and I've been asked to evaluate a lot of lures in my day, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you come out with this stupid looking lure, it's going to kill your company. It's just the worst, ugliest, nastiest looking lure I've ever seen in my life. I said, don't bring it on the market. It's not going to sell.
Coming from the guy that
Coming
made the
from
helicopter lure,
idea
yeah,
of a new lure.
it's only the
And he
biggest
built it because he had a
bass
whole
fishing
ballpoint
lure.
pen.
I never even realized that it's literally like the exact same shape as a ballpoint pen.
Yeah. Dude almost gets smoked by a shark, so that was good. Right there, did you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's see.
So the good news is you earned some points and moved up in that direction, but I don't
I
know
don't
if it's going to
remember
be
this.
enough to keep
We'll
you
end on
inside the
this one.
cut. Oh, no, it ain't going to keep me there. I'm just happy I remembered how to catch bass today after yesterday. I wasn't for sure catching 6 pounds. But I know that tequila and some tin cup last night got me right. I didn't stay out till 2 o'clock, but we wasn't too far from her. So,
That's a professional athlete.
What if I told you the Japanese
No, this
mafia
we'll
is
end on this one.
enormous
This is
in
actually pretty
bass
cool.
fishing?
All right, here we go.
What if I told you
Oh,
the
the
Japanese
bass-
mafia
from
had
the
an
mafia?
enormous
Yeah,
impact
yeah.
on bass fishing? In 1925, businessman Tatsuma Akobashi smuggled bass into the country with the help of the
that's a
Japanese
little
yakuza.
racist.
In the years since, the bass proliferated, as did their popularity. Bassmania was born. Companies like Daiwa, Megabass, and Lucky Craft popped up. And there's no arguing the Japanese do it better than
hell's
anyone
that?
else. I mean, look at
don't
these
know,
lures.
some weird
What in the
thing.
fuck is that?
Cool.
Somewhere down the line, Florida strain bass were brought over, and giant bass soon followed, including this 22-pound, 5-ounce bass that actually beat the world record, but counts as a tie because it wasn't 2 ounces bigger. What if I
Man,
told
know
you
how
the
that feels. Cool.
Ouch.
Yep. Can relate. Beat a world record, but it wasn't my 2,000. Apparently, there's a bunch of F-bombs in that.
Josh has some editing to do.
Yeah, apparently. But anyway, that's our Fish Talk segment. If you listen to that, you're an idiot. I don't know. You need to watch it on YouTube. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? If you're listening to that and you didn't fast forward and you're complaining about it, you're dumb. No, seriously, watch it on YouTube. So our topic for today's episode is going to be our, I guess, top 5 bucket list fishing destinations or fish to catch or whatever.
Yeah. Destination / species / experiences, I guess you
Yeah.
could say.
Yeah.
Because like some of mine, I have 5 and then I have 5 honorable mentions.
This is actually, I mean, I did it right before we started recording. This is actually kind of difficult for me because I don't necessarily categorize.
Well, yeah,
stuff
my
like
thing
that.
is like for my top 5, I wouldn't say that my top 5 and my honorable mentions are like 100%. Well, number 1 is number 1 and nothing will ever remove it.
Mm-hmm.
But like my honorable mentions and my 2 through 5, you could replace any one of them with an honorable mention and it wouldn't bother me one
Yeah,
bit.
it's kind of right.
Like-
Like having me pick. a
Most of
number
these
one.
are so far out of the realm of possibility for me that it doesn't
Yeah.
really matter that much. But
Well, I had to. My top, which you'll probably figure this out pretty quick, but my top like 1/2 is just something I'm saving till the very end because I'm pretty sure it's going to kill me due to the destination. So that's just why that's
Somalian shark fishing.
Sierra Leone tarpon. No, but yeah, so that's just I kind of had the same problem with this. So we have like 5 like ones on the list.
I think
and then
I have a couple that you won't have.
probably, and then like 5 more honorable mentions. So we'll just sort of spitball these and create the discussion. And I'll let you go first. Just start listing off some of these honorable mentions you have.
Honorable mention for me. These honorable mentions are in no particular order because I couldn't even come close to picking. Like, yeah, British Columbia bull trout. Bull trout is one.
Okay.
The whole reason Josh is like, damn it, I want to do that.
You do not know why I'm laughing right now. First thing that came to mind, SpongeBob SquarePants, the Alaskan.
The Alaskan bullworm.
That is the first thing that came. It's just, I don't know. That immediately popped into my.
This is the tongue, and the whole thing is the worm.
Jesus.
Harley's laughing because she knows that's exactly how it went too.
Anyway, so
Anyway,
Alaskan Bullworm.
British Columbian bull trout.
Oh, you're close enough.
Just technically not a trout. It's one of the char species.
I don't even know what they look like. That fish species has never entered my thought.
They're pretty freaking awesome.
Let me see a photo of them.
Hold on. But yeah, they're one of the largest char species.
So like a cutthroat, sort of?
They look like a giant brookie, essentially.
So splake. Yes.
Giant bull trout.
Okay, show the camera.
So yeah, kind of like a giant brook trout. I mean, all the char species look extremely similar.
Very similar.
White tips on their fins, like a brookie blended with like a brown a little bit.
Where would you go to catch that?
British Columbia is where the biggest ones are, and it's one of the few places that doesn't have like a closed season for them. They do have a closed season, but they have a longer open season to fish for them.
Okay.
And yeah, that's pretty much known. There's big ones in Idaho.
Really? Yeah, I think I've heard of that now.
But like Montana has them, but I think it's like 100% you can't, like, you're not supposed to target them. One of those things, because there's not many of them. There's a few places in the country that have them, but there's a few places that have big ones, but I think it's this kind of situation like you're not supposed to fish for them.
Do they eat like bugs, or are they eating meat?
They're meat,
Okay.
like pretty much exclusively. A lot of these places in the country that have them, you do a float trip, you're floating for cutthroats, and then there's like a 10-weight rod in the boat with like an 8-inch solid white fly on it. It's like, oh, when we get to a spot that might have a bull trout, we're going to throw that.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
it's essentially musky fishing, but they don't break your heart because they're not super picky. They're top predator in the ecosystem. So that's an honorable mention.
Yeah, I struggled with this one because honestly, in my heart, it should be number one on my list, but I couldn't put it above some of these other ones that are a little bit harder. But the tarpon.
Yeah.
I want to put it in my heart. That's the one. I need to catch that before I die. The other ones, like, if I never catch a whale,
maybe that's
or
one
whatever,
of like your top 5 saltwater sport fish on the planet.
Yeah, it's just reading Lords of the Fly, and then going to Key West with Harley and like spending a week down there and hearing about how it used to be in the 70s and like getting that nostalgia for something that I never participated in.
Well, I mean, look at like one of Lefty Kray's quotes. He said the 3 sport fish that every fisherman should catch before they die is a tarpon, a bonefish, and Atlantic salmon.
Okay.
That was the 3 out of every fish in the world that Lefty Kray has caught. That was the 3 he said are the 3 everyone should catch before they die.
Yeah, it's just
that's obviously glowing reviews for a tarpon.
Yeah, I mean, I've tangled with them back in 2017. I hooked into 6 big ones up in Pensacola with our buddy Marty Mood, and every one of them broke my heart. And then I really haven't put forth enough effort since then to really like be in the same arena with them. I went back to Pensacola a couple times. Bad timing. Just I haven't been in the same ballpark with the big one really since then. It's just since then I've read Lords of the Fly 3-4 times. It's like I say I read it. I listened to it on Audible. I listen to it while I'm fishing, so it's just a good thing to like get you psyched up. But that and just being in Key West and the vibe of everything. I don't even care if I catch my tarpon in the Keys. I just need to catch one so I can feel like I'm not a poser. Because like I want to be a part of it.
Do you have like a bit like 100 pounds or bigger?
Yeah, as big as you can get it. I mean, I don't. I've caught small ones like the Everglades ones.
Those are like literally babies.
Yeah, like 10, 15, 20
I mean, like what
maybe.
would you like 100 pounds? A 100-pounder would be a success. 150-pounder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I mean, like everything else. I
150 is not like out of the question. I mean, they're
down
easily
there.
obtainable down there. Not, you know what I mean.
I look at
hooking into that fish is not crazy.
I don't
to think about.
look at the weight so much. I look at the length. I don't want a 6-footer.
Like
I want
a
a
7-footer.
Yeah, I want a giant one. Like 6-footer. It's like catching a 6-foot alligator gar. It's a lot of the same. Like catch a 6-foot alligator gar. It's like cool. Like I caught like a trophy alligator gar or what.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like you really didn't know. Like 7-8 footers where it's at. That's when you can really be like super proud of it. So if I don't know, in my heart that's number one on the bucket list, but it's just honorable mention.
It's like that's like probably the most obtainable one on the bucket list.
I know that's why I couldn't. It has to be an honorable mention.
Yeah,
the bucket
that's
list,
like how a lot of my stuff went too. I don't know. Like I have stuff in my honorable mentions that could easily be on the bucket list, but I have something else in the bucket list that's like the same style of fishing. So I was like, I would rather do this one more. Like,
yeah,
it was really like splitting hairs, but separating some of them. So, just grab another one from my honorable mention list. Papua New Guinea black bass.
Yeah, I thought about that. I didn't include it.
That's to anyone that doesn't know, Papua New Guinea black bass. They're it's the only place in the world you can catch them. They're species. They're basically, I don't know if they are or not, but they look exactly like a Cubera snapper.
Yeah.
That is just stuck in fresh water. I mean, I from what I understand, they are a black bass species. They're the largest black bass species. Pound per pound, they say they're one of the hardest fighting fish on the planet. If you want to see some just incredible footage of them, look up that guy Gog Lee on YouTube. Gog Lee.
Lei.
Yeah, Lei. Might be Gog Lai.
Gonglei. Gong. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Gong Li.
Yeah, I think it is. But anyway, he's got some unbelievable footage of him fishing for black bass. I mean, just throwing wood choppers. Like,
the dude's a murderer anyway, man.
Everywhere he goes, he catches
Didn't
giants.
he hook into that giant yellow cheek?
Yeah, he's got a bunch of yellow cheek videos.
I didn't even think about putting that on the
I
list.
didn't put them on there, but they would be the next honorable mention. They're just a cool fish.
Given our current relations with China, I don't know if we'll ever get to do that.
Yeah, but yeah, they're just a wicked looking bass species. They make pound per pound probably the most violent topwater bites you've ever experienced. At one point, while Lefty Cray was still alive, he said they were not truly catchable on a fly rod by typical fly fishing techniques.
Yeah.
I think some people have done it, but you look at the guys' success that go over there, and there's videos of guys catching them on fly rods where they cast into a brush pile, hook them, and wrap the fly line around a cleat on the boat and pull them out. Because the thing is, if your bait they're similar to a peacock bass in the state, like they're inches from the structure.
Yeah.
If your bait gets 5 feet from the structure and you haven't got a bite, you pick it up.
Yeah.
But that's the problem is they eat it, and there's that little half-second delay with a fly rod, and then it's like, oh, and he's in it.
Yeah.
Like
that's black bass didn't make it on the list for me because peacock bass did.
Yeah.
So those it's a lot of the same of what you're describing. You're fishing for these peacock bass with these big Rapala.
I mean, they're essentially the exact same style of fishing.
Yeah, and
the
they're
peacocks and the black bass.
Crushing it. I think I just like the peacocks because they're like a prettier fish.
Yeah, and they get bigger.
Yeah, yeah. So that was to tie into yours. That was one of my honorable mentions, I think. But let's see. My next honorable mention, another big one for me, is the halibut up in Alaska.
Yeah, they didn't make my list, but I thought about them.
Yeah.
My problem with the other thing, why some things didn't make my list, is because I don't want to devote a whole trip to a fish that I just feel like isn't going to take that long. If that makes a lot of sense. Like, I don't want to devote a week-long trip to Alaska for just halibut.
Yeah.
If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. That,
I don't know.
It's just one of those things, like, I feel like I need to do is like a self-proclaimed.
Harley and I were talking about that while you were in the shower when I got here. Alaska didn't even make my honorable mentions or my top 5. And it's not because I don't desperately want to go to Alaska.
Right.
It's just like, when you go to Alaska, what do you fish for? Trout, salmon. The only species that is really crazy out of this world is halibut.
Yeah.
But like trout, salmon, grayling, all that kind of stuff. That's great. I know the fishing for those species in Alaska is the best you're going to have in the entire United States.
Yeah.
But it's like a destination trip for fishing that I feel like mainland U.S. has fishing for all of those species just about.
Yeah.
That's somewhat comparable. Like, I'm not trying to shit on Alaska. Like, I desperately want to go to Alaska. I'm just saying
take a hike.
This is like the top 10 things I would do before I die. Alaska's like number 11.
Okay, well, that was a little harsh. No, I know what you're saying. The only reason the halibut is on there is because I keep seeing these photos of like
Oh yeah,
300 and 400 pounders.
And
it's
the like guys floating in the life suit in the water next to you. Wouldn't do that.
Oh, I'd do it.
No.
Why?
You in deep dark black water, you ain't doing that.
I have nothing left to live for, so I guess I don't care.
I guess when you want to die.
Are we bluefin tuna in the northeast of the United States shark infested waters?
Yeah, I guess
no.
a sleeper shark isn't going to come up and smoke you while you're sitting next to the halibut.
No, I would do that. I'm not going to do the Goliath grouper thing because I feel like you'll get your leg ripped off by a bull shark.
I'm surprised more of those grouper don't get smoked.
I'm surprised more people don't get smoked.
Yeah,
that is like a sketchy thing to do. But yeah, just I keep seeing these photos of this giant halibut. I want to do it so bad, and it's like it's difficult because it's not. I don't know if DIY options exist given
for halibut.
Because you kind of have to have like a pretty solid boat setup.
That I'm pretty sure like the boating situation in Alaska is a little. I don't think you could be out of state and like.
I don't know.
Show up and pilot a boat like that kind of thing.
It's the problem is it's kind of an in between thing because it's not like one of the Amazon trips where like you have no option. You got to go with a guide.
Yeah.
My brain goes, I bet I could drive to Alaska and like fit. Well, the other problem is like. Some of the kayak dudes we know are promoting the Alaska like lodging thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's guys who catch halibut in Alaskan kayaks.
It's like $4,000 to go to one of these. I don't need fancy dinners.
I was looking 2 nights ago. My number one is cheaper than that.
That's what I'm saying.
My number one is cheaper than that.
I'm pretty sure mine will be too. It's like $4,000 to get because it's the conversion rate that screws you because you're still in America. Yeah. So. It's just like going all the way to Alaska.
Your dollar doesn't stretch as far where you actually use the dollar.
Yeah. But it's like going and I don't know. It's not 100% like you have to use a guide. So I feel like it's just enough hope there that I would go and drive 3,000 miles and fail. But I don't know. It's funny. You remind me of something. I'm literally adding to my list as we're sitting here. I just thought of one that I completely forgot about. But what's your next honorable mention?
You'd probably be surprised that it's not in the top 5. It's a Thailand giant snakehead.
Yeah.
That's honorable mention.
That's one of my honorable mentions.
It's not because I don't desperately want to catch one. It's just some of the other stuff on the list. Everybody's going to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like giant snakehead are awesome. Like I watch videos of them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt 2 days go by where I don't watch a giant snakehead video. But like the fishing is so similar to what we already do. Yeah, it's bigger. Yeah. And the fish are way bigger. But like
I bet it would be relatively affordable.
Oh, well, it is. I mean, I've seen quite a few that are pretty.
You could probably do the whole thing for like less than $2,500.
I've seen a few where it's what was it? A week of lodging and fishing was like $1,700.
Yeah.
5 days of fishing, 7 days of lodge.
My number 2 is probably the cheapest thing on the list. So it's because you're gonna die.
Lake Havasu shellcracker.
No. But yeah, giant snakehead made my honorable mentions as well. And it's on the honorable mention.
This is like what I'm saying though. Like honorable mentions, any one of my honorable mentions, you could put it in, you could move any one of, well, with the exception of my top 2, you could move anything in my top 5 with an honorable mention.
Yeah, I don't have to be talked into any of these. If you came to me tomorrow and said, "Hey, let's go giant snakehead," okay, when are we going?
Yeah.
But
if you had a gun to my head for any of these, and one of them was $500 cheaper than the other, I would just go to that one. It wouldn't bother me one bit.
Yeah. One of my honorable mentions is a bluefin.
Yeah.
Bluefin tuna. It's the common theme with mine is just what is the biggest thing that exists.
Yeah.
Bluefin, like those giant. The videos keep popping up on my TikTok where like guys are messing with the smaller tuna and they're like dangling them and this giant submarine
those
thing.
Those videos are nuts where they're pitching herring into the water and a 8-foot-long tuna just appears out of the black and eats it. Yeah. Their eye is like the size of a dinner plate.
And to know that exists out there somewhere is just nuts. But
I like all those underwater videos in like the Gulf where you see them swimming around the base of the oil rigs and stuff. And they're just huge.
Yeah, it's nuts. But that one isn't my My computer keeps acting dumb. I don't know why it does that. That one isn't such a... That's probably the lowest on my list, I'd say. Like, that one, I take it or leave it. It's just something
The thing is, we have, like, some people we could probably call and if we really, like, wanted to do that.
Yeah. It's just, like, the money thing. I know the fuel for that's a lot.
Well, I
it's
mean,
just like,
it's one of those things, like, if you're going out there to catch one, I mean, a lot of people could go out there and catch a decent bluefin, but, like, these huge ones you see people catching, like, most people aren't pulling on that thing all day by themselves. Like,
yeah.
You're hooked up to that thing 5-6 hours. Like, you'll have 4 or 5 people on the boat. Everybody's got a turn.
Yeah.
It's kind of a team. They're 100% a team effort fish.
Yeah.
When they get that
we
big.
could probably talk Andy into it. I don't know if he'd take his... Can you catch him off of Virginia Beach?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hell, dude, there was a...
I
when I was working
Oregon
at Bass
Inlet.
Pro, we had a period where they were catching them less than 2 miles out of Virginia Beach.
Wow.
The striper guys were getting spooled on their, like,
think I
Pen
remember that.
320s.
Yeah, it was like 2012 or something.
Yeah, they
like
were
that.
complaining they couldn't hook them, and then they were going out. People were buying 80 wides from us and then bringing them back, like, 4 days later, unspooled and broken.
Yeah.
Like, guys just didn't know how to operate the reels and were getting lit up. There was a big run of bluefin that year.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what year it was, but it was, like, right when I started working there.
Yeah. That is definitely something I'd like to take advantage of. I saw that too. Spit flew out of my mouth. Did you see
I didn't see it.
Okay, I saw it.
Good job highlighting it, though.
I know.
But yeah, that should have probably been my honorable mention. But I think it's one of those things that kind of like flew under the radar because I feel like that's not like super unobtainable. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's also one of those, like I said, it's one of those deals where it's like I can kind of, that is probably one of the only ones on the list I don't have the enthusiasm for that like I do the rest of them. But
next honorable mention is Labrador Brookies / Arctic Char trip.
Like Maine?
Labrador, like Canada.
Yeah,
like
but that's
Arctic
north
stuff.
of Maine, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
it's those big, like 5 to 8 pound, 20-inch class wild brookies.
Is that one where we watched the dude's canoe through it or something?
I mean, they've got a bunch of pretty much everywhere up there. You like float plane in, and you're in these small bodies of water and rivers and catch them.
I think I watched a video. You might have.
I mean, like 5-pound brookies don't even turn your head up there.
Like flew in with a canoe and like floated through or something.
They might have. I'm not sure.
I remember. Yeah.
You catch them right next to Arctic Char at certain times of the year and stuff up there. And Arctic Char, they're cool. They're crazy looking. So like you'll catch a bunch of silver ones, and you catch one that's like highlighter orange.
So David just did a podcast with this guy Andrew Bunker who lives up there.
Yeah.
So he explained that I think the ones that are coming in are red. The ones that are going back out to the sea are silver.
So it's like their color changes after they drop or something.
Well, the weird thing is if you fillet an inbound fish that's coming home.
Yeah, I heard him say that the meat's 2 different colors. Like the meat of an inbound fish is a different color than the meat of an exit fish.
They have the pigmentation. So like an inbound fish that's coming to spawn will be red, but the meat will be white. And then when they're on the way out, the meat is red and they're silver. So it's like they have that. They flip the pigmentation. It's just a weird thing. Yeah. But yeah, I've thought about that stuff. I briefly.
That's one of the ones that's more about the experience. I mean, granted, I love brook trout, so like a big 7-pound brook trout I would lose my mind.
Yeah,
and they catch them on like mouse flies and stuff, like just silly stuff.
Yeah,
so like that would be awesome, but that's still another like experience. I mean, you're at the top of the world. Mm-hmm. You're essentially in the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
So that was just one of those. That was more experience than necessarily the fish itself.
Right. My only problem with going north is it's just even when it's warm, it's cold.
Yeah,
it's like 50 degrees all year.
Yeah, luckily this is that's a summertime thing.
Yeah,
summer season, but still it's like 50.
You're gonna get smoked by mosquitoes.
By a polar bear.
Yeah, well, you know.
Or the hybrids. They got those growler bears up there.
Revert back to that jumping in the ocean thing.
Yeah,
polar bear takes me out. I'm fine with it. One of the ones that I added to the list as we were talking was Australia, more specifically Murray cod and barramundi.
Yeah, they didn't make my honorable mentions on my list. Murray cod were up there. I thought about them, and it is one of those things. Like I I wouldn't necessarily travel for either one of those species, but when you say both of them,
Yeah.
like if I'm going to Australia, I'm catching both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're necessarily close together, but
I don't know. The barramundi are cool. They look like sort of Nile perchish, but the Murray cod is just. They seem like they just smoke everything.
they look like a little Goliath grouper.
Yeah. They're not, or like just a shiny, obese largemouth.
Yeah.
Like they're crazy looking, like a largemouth and a Goliath grouper cross. But that and in that same vein, the Australia thing, they have this giant sawfish over there, or guitarfish, guitarfish and sawfish. So just going to Australia,
and you
general,
could catch one of the other ones that almost made it. The other one was like Dubai to catch queenfish, which I don't know if you've ever seen them.
Is that like a big ladyfish?
They look like a Spanish and a bluefish.
I think I've seen them. They're long, right?
Yeah. And they got a jack tail.
Yeah, I think
But like you can catch those in Australia too. So you could possibly just loop Australia into one destination and have like a crazy species week. Because here's queenfish. They're pretty cool. But that's in Dubai.
Oh, yeah. I'm thinking of milkfish.
No, milkfish look like a giant grass carp.
Yeah. They're like weird. They're long, though. Yeah.
But if you don't know what a queenfish is, there you go. You can probably get a decent view. They essentially look like a big Spanish mackerel, but like the front third of their body looks like a bluefish.
That made your top 5?
No, that didn't make it. But what I was saying was that was part of the reason why Australia was like hovering there, because I was like, man, I don't desperately want to catch a Murray cod. I don't desperately want to catch a barramundi or a queenfish, but like the fact that I could go to one place and catch all three, that would like put it into my honorable mention.
Right.
I just have one more honorable mention left.
Yeah, just go ahead and
so the other one, this is one that anyone other than my top 2, the only reason this one got bumped out of my actual top 5 was because I feel like it's the only species I could catch when I went there, and there's not much else to do. Whales cats in France on topwater.
Yeah. That entire thing made my list.
It was in my list until we came into the room.
Well, we'll expand on it when we hit it.
Honorable mention for me, but like I said, I cannot stress this enough. That did not miss the top 5. It just got shuffled.
Yeah. We'll touch on it in a sec, because that is in my top 5. So, all right, breaking into the top 5, and these.
The main event. Let's get ready to.
This riveting podcast you all have been listening to so far.
All 8 of y'all, listen up.
You have to have Red Bull before, if you're going to do this fasting thing. Because one of us has to have some energy. Yeah. And I'm fat, so I don't think it's going to be.
I can have water during the fast. I can't have Red Bull.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I'm fasting, but I drank this crack cocaine.
Can you have Adderall?
If it dissolves.
Next time Grant comes to record, just dump a bunch of Adderall on the string. Anyway,
number 5.
Any of these could be interchanged. I don't think we need to say any more. But number 5 for me, Golden Dorado.
Blasphemy.
Is that on your list?
Yes.
Okay. Well, is it higher than your number 5?
It is very high.
Okay. Well, I'll let you.
We'll skip it.
Yeah. Any of these, if we hit it before. We'll talk about it later. All right. Well, you do your number 5 then.
I don't think you're going to have this one. Number 5, Taiman in Mongolia.
No.
Not necessarily. Well,
it's
got to be Mongolia. You can catch them in other places. They're in Japan.
Russia.
Russia. That's you can definitely go to Russia right now.
Yeah.
Book a plane.
You're not
tonight.
coming back.
Yeah. Book a plane tonight.
You go.
You probably can't tell anyone you're going to Russia. You might have to fly to like India first.
You can't even tell the Russians you're going to Russia.
You might have to change your name in India, but you can get there.
Yeah.
No, but Mongolian Taiman, just because of like they're just as big in Japan.
Yeah.
And the ones in Russia are just as big.
Yeah.
I think actually the Russian ones might be the largest ones. But the whole thing with the Mongolian thing, this is where I was saying the experience starts playing into the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
You are days away from civilization.
Yeah.
You get dropped off at the river, and your like native Mongolian people are taking literal musk ox 15 miles downriver ahead of you,
and you're
setting up your yurts, and you show up and they have everything set up, but you are so far away from civilization.
Well, all those people are also your cousins because Genghis Khan
True.
You're probably like an eighth of the world at one point in time.
Yeah, it's like there's
just some Mongolian dude that looks exactly like me.
2.5% of the entire population is related to Genghis Khan.
There's some 300-pounded bearded
correct pronunciation
Mongolian man out there that has a really shitty.
But yeah, if you don't know what a taimen is, it's the largest species of salmonid, so giant. It's a giant rainbow trout.
Seeing a lot of variety in your picks.
Yeah.
They're all salmonoids.
Well, that's why the top 5 got shuffled.
Okay.
But yeah, they grow to be like 60 inches long.
Yeah, they're ridiculous.
Harry Robertson caught a few before he passed away. He showed me some pictures of them. He said the craziest thing about taimen is they don't have like a skeletal structure. He's like, you go to pick them up, it's like an eel.
That's weird.
He said they're super insanely strong, but like the way their skeleton's built, he's like that's why you don't ever see anybody hold them way out the water. They hold the head in the water and pick the tail up.
Okay.
Because when you try to pick them up, they just go like, bleh. Like
probably die.
It's because they're so long.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're just one of those fish that's in ice cold water its entire life. They have no off switch when you hook them.
Yeah.
Still to this day, the coolest fishing clip ever filmed, that drone shot, the dude swimming the fly, that was a taimen.
Yeah, okay.
So
that's a solid pick.
Number 5.
If you told me to buy a plane ticket tomorrow, I'd go do that.
Yeah.
That's legit.
But that's one of those ones that's like,
you're getting the full experience.
Well, you're also like 25 G's to do a taimen trip.
Might be going to Russia.
Yeah.
I can afford
hey, yo, Putin, how much you want me to pay for a taimen?
I can afford the trip where I die at the end. Great. That's it's only $5,000 to go to Russia, but you die.
Yeah.
So
actually, since the conversion rate, I think it's free to go there now.
Yeah. My number 4 is the Wells catfish. Not specifically the float tube fishing for them, but I would like to do that. But I just want one of those, like...
From what I've seen, the float tube isn't like... They're not catching the biggest ones. I mean, he's caught some huge ones. But
that is an experience thing.
Yeah.
I want the River Ebro 300-pound wells that look like... I want the ones that every time you log on to Facebook and they're like, look at this flathead under XYZ dam. And it's that dude from... Italy. I want that Wells cat. Yeah. I want the Wells cat that everybody keeps saying is a flathead. Yeah. But that is my number 4. The Wells cat. We have some connections in like France and Italy for these things, but Spain seems to have the giants. That video we watched where the guy drives by and catches all the lines of that's how they fish for them there.
Gotcha.
And if you watch one of Jeremy Wade's earlier like videos, they show it. You literally
So it's not like unlike alligator gar fishing.
No, but it's like it's everything about like the type of fishing you do with live bait, but it's upsized exponentially. So the way you catch these like 300-pounders, you get up on a bluff, you put 6 or 8 rods kind of in line. They're giant surf rods, giant like 20,000 size spinning reels. Your bait is 2-pound carp. So they're taking these carp, which it's funny because a lot of European anglers go to do this, but the European anglers also love carp. It's the same thing like with alligator gar.
One of their top 3 sport fish.
Yeah, so they're fine with carp until it's time to catch something bigger.
Yeah.
But they literally take a little rubber dinghy or rubber raft and they paddle these baits out and drop them. And they just spread the river with them like that. That's why that guy got all of his lines caught at once. Yeah. You're up on this bluff with your lines way out there. It's just seeing how that is done and just that style of just sitting and waiting with these huge baits out. I don't know. It just touches something in my brain that I want to I really want to do that. Catching them in the float tube would be cool just to experience, but those big ones and the way in which you go about catching them is really Or the boats that have like the mini house tent on it, like they catch them so many crazy ways over there.
Yeah.
Like those dudes, they have a basically a Carolina skiff and they pitch a tent on it and they catch it. There's so many different ways to catch those whales. I don't know, but anyway, moving on.
Number 4 for me is those Mag Bay marlin that they catch.
Don't know about that.
Magdalena Bay. It's that new thing that's been going on the last 5 years. A couple outfitters are down there. These marlins school up on sardine balls. I think they're coming into Magdalena Bay to spawn.
Right.
And the reason they're there is because there's these giant, school bus sized balls of sardines, and there'll be 15 marlins swimming around them, and they are just so drunk off of eating these sardines that you can pull a panga up 20 feet away and cast a fly at them and hook them.
That reminds me.
These guys are catching 15 a day on a fly rod.
Did you see that guy that
marlin,
just caught the swordfish from land on a fly rod?
Swordfish.
Should have mentioned that earlier. Damn it.
As far as anyone knows, it's the first time it's ever happened, too.
Did you read about it?
Yeah.
So apparently
he thought it was a sailfish.
Yeah, this guy was wading the flats or something, and he saw this commotion. He threw his fly over to it, and it was this. I think it's a juvenile swordfish.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not a huge one, but he caught a swordfish in shallow water.
It was 100+ pounds, but still, it was a swordfish swimming on a flat, chasing bait in broad daylight, which is. I mean, you'll never probably ever see it again.
Once in a billion. Okay. Once in a lifetime.
But yeah, anyway, so Mag Bay marlin, not only do you have the big striped marlin, but you've got huge mackerel species, you've got cudas, you've all these crazy fish, but the main thing is they'll pull up to these sardine balls or ballyhoo balls, and it'll just be 25 marlins swimming around it in a circle, and they're just dumb as a brick. You
throw get them on a fly rod?
Yeah. They're getting them on casting gear too. I mean, spinning reels, whatever.
What size are they?
I mean, they're big. I mean, striped marlin aren't a huge marlin.
Striped marlin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Mag Bay marlin images.
That reminds me that did rooster
So
fish...
here's some underwater pictures from Mag Bay.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before.
Yeah, just silliness. And I mean, the striped marlin are definitely. I mean, they're not little.
Yeah.
I mean, you get much bigger than that. You're not talking realistically getting them on a fly.
The only reason I'd love to be a millionaire, but that would be one of the first things I would start doing is bill fishing, because you need a ton of money to do it. But
it's also they do them in kayaks too.
That's ridiculous. That reminds me. That got me thinking about Los Buzos. Did roosterfish or any of that stuff make your list? Mm-hmm. I just thought about it. The black marlin that Adam Fisk caught from a kayak, I think it was.
That's the other thing. Since this is technically the Pacific, it's on the western side of Mexico. Mm-hmm. You have the chance at blues, blacks, and striped marlin.
Yeah.
99% of what they catch are striped.
Yeah.
But they do occasionally catch a small black marlin, and blues are fairly common too.
Yeah. Sorry.
So that was my number 4. I'm pretty confident in saying that was number 4, but it could maybe be bumped up to 3.
Yeah.
That's actually a fairly new thing on the scene. I mean, I'm sure it's been going on forever, but it's really jumped into the public eye in the past 5 years.
Yeah, well, that stuff at Los Buzos the same way. It's just went nuts the past half decade, it seems.
Yeah.
These literally world record roosterfish, giant Cubera snapper, black marlin. I think they have Goliath. It's just, that's not necessarily a bucket list thing, because I could see myself winding up there this year if everything went right. But let's see, number 3, the goonch.
That didn't make my list, but I thought about it.
I had a problem with this one because I don't know how successful the trip would be, because I only want to catch the one that looks like it would eat one of those people. The
problem is those ones that size are incredibly rare, from what everybody said. The fact that Jeremy Wade caught one on camera and did that in a film, that's still by far the best episode of the whole show.
Yeah. In one of his books, he talks about that catch, and like,
it was like the second largest one ever caught, wasn't it?
It was up there.
It's like a top 5.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. But I read one of his books on it, and he tells the story about that fish, and it was one of those situations where I don't think they were necessarily expecting that, and then he hooks it, and there's only one thing that size.
Yeah, there's nothing else in the river.
He realizes what he has. So he, coming from a filming standpoint,
the jumping in the river thing for it, like that was 100% real.
Yeah.
Like,
oh no.
Yeah.
So coming from the film mindset, hearing how he did this was hilarious. There was a swinging bridge up from him, like way up from him, and he had to do what he did. So he's like, I'm not losing this fish. He rips off his mic pack, rips off all this stuff, and he jumps in after it. And as he's swimming down with the fish, I think there was some like serious water below him, so he had to get across. As he's doing that, his cameraman, the guy that helped him land it, and the like producer and the guy that holds the boom mic, they're sprinting upriver, crossing the bridge and sprinting back down to try to get to him to get this shot. They all thought he was like dead.
Imagine that, like, we're all the way into, where are they? They're in India, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the Himalayas, I'm pretty sure.
So you're in the Himalayas, and you're probably hundreds of dollars worth of budget.
Yeah.
You're out here and you're like, our actor died.
Yeah, our talent is dead.
Not only did he die, he did it himself. He ripped all his stuff off and jumped in a river.
Well, so the funny thing about that too is literally he came very close to losing that fish, and as he's like getting it close to shore, his like guy that helped him, I don't know, not a Sherpa, but like their guide or whatever you want to call it. He like runs up and grabs it by the tail, and they're like trying to communicate, and neither one of them speak each other's language. It was just a giant cluster. But I think that like sold that show for the next 10 years, basically.
I mean, that is still, we've got a picture of that fish. There you go. I mean, there is nothing that's ever...
Yeah, it's
in terms of how rare those catfish are of that size.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's not hard to go out there and catch one that's like 20 pounds.
No, so that is where like this one really, that's
they're funny because they look like a giant tadpole.
Yeah, they're a catfish with legitimate teeth.
That's the shot that everybody likes to see right there. Freaking like alligator teeth.
Yeah, it has legitimate backwards facing teeth. Yeah. But that I do have a problem with that because like I feel like it's so easy to pay an outfitter and go all the way out there and one, not catch anything, or two, there's a lot of those outfitters that like throw crankbaits and like catching 10-pounders on crankbaits. I don't know why that's such a popular thing to do.
That's not Jeremy Wade.
That's Jakob Wagner. Yeah. I think if you look it up, I'll look it up right now. I'm pretty sure he has the
thing is that one dwarfs the one Wade caught. Jeremy Wade.
Yeah,
caught.
I think that fish is the all-tackle world record. I'm pretty
The crazy
sure.
thing is though, these fish are in the hill. Yeah, here you go. There's his.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing's bigger than he is.
Yeah, it's nuts. Let's see, all-tackle world records. Go.
Yeah, there's. You know what they look like? They look like a giant pleco.
Yep, like an armored catfish.
They look like a giant pleco or pleco, however you say it.
Pleco, yep. Let's see.
I mean, they're just so wild looking, man. Every fin they have has that one bar, like one band that comes off like a thread.
Yep.
And you're in extremely cold water for 10 months out of the 12 months out of the year.
They're not as heavy as what you'd think they'd be. That fish that you just showed me looks like it's a 300-pounder.
Yeah.
That guy, Jakob Wagner, caught that fish in 2009 on the River Ramganga. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it was in India. It's 165 pounds, 5 ounces. Yeah. That fish looks bigger than... I mean, that's not that far from our world record blue cat, and that fish looks way bigger than that.
Yeah. They must just be built a little different, like the way they... I don't know. They taper down real skinny at the tail.
Bagarius
look at the head on those things, dude.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But that makes my list, but it's that... I would have to have it in writing somewhere that we would be trying for like the big ones.
Yeah.
I don't want to go over there and fish some preserve and catch 20 pounders.
Yeah, because from what I understand, they're not even like close to being like an endangered species or anything. There's billions of them, but they're all tiny.
Yeah.
And for every 500 you catch, one of them will be a decent one.
It's the same problem where we have with like the alligator gar, where everybody's like, "Oh, they're never gonna go extinct." Yeah. You're probably
But
right.
You're killing the big breeders.
The gene pool.
Yeah.
Those 7 and 8 footers you're shooting with a bow, they take years to get to
20
sexual
plus
maturity.
years to get to that size.
Right. And it's the same thing with those goonch. Like, there are big ones, but they harvest them, so all that's really left is like the small dudes. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's my number 3. It's up in the mountains of India. It'd be super amazing to do. I would do it at the drop of a hat, but I wouldn't need to trust. Like, I'd need somebody to go there first and tell me that the outfitter's legit, because I don't want to go unless we're shooting for something
And
like
you know
that.
it's going to be a $20,000-$30,000 trip.
I actually don't think it's that expensive.
Well, the thing
plane
is you gotta,
ticket.
Yeah.
The plane ticket. But
I guess you're right. That style of fishing and stuff, it's probably not crazy expensive.
It's not.
But
It's
like
a couple grand.
You got to know what the outfitter's doing too.
Your conversion rate.
Yeah.
That's always what it comes down to. The conversion rate of something like the rupee or whatever I think it's rupee. I think it's what it is. Yeah. But the dollar to the rupee, I think's pretty good. So I don't think it ends up being very expensive on our end. But it's just compare that to going to Australia.
Well, for conversion rate, it's $13 to go there.
Oh God, I'm choking to death. Excuse me.
That's if you want the presidential suite.
Yeah.
So slide down. My number 3. I highlighted the peacocks in the Amazon specifically, but like, I just want to kind of say the Amazon as a whole, but that's not really fair because you have the farther up you go, you get to Arapaima, Arowana. You got wolffish. You got the Amazon is just. That's been like a number 1, number 2 like destination since I've been fishing.
That's your number what?
That's my like number 3.
Okay, cool. Well, you can't talk about that.
Okay.
So you have to.
We'll bounce off that when we get to it.
That's a little bit higher on my list. So
lame.
But go to your. That was your number 3. Go to your number 2.
The Seychelles.
Yeah, GTs.
GTs and just like. Harry Robertson told me a story about when he's been to Seychelles like 4 times before he passed away, and he told me one particular day, the Seychelles is a multi-week excursion because you fly to most people fly to South Africa, and then you get on the yacht that you're going to sail to the Seychelles to and then you live off that yacht. That yacht has like 5 flats boats or pangos on it, and they take you all over the archipelago and you fish.
I think you have armed security there too.
I don't know if the Seychelles.
I'm pretty sure it's
maybe
kind of dangerous.
It might be at certain times of the year, but
pirate season.
Other people fly into the Seychelles though. The Seychelles has an airport. You fly into the Seychelles and then the outfitter picks you up. But everybody says if you're flying into the Seychelles, you tack on like another 5 Gs or whatever. It gets exponentially more expensive. But anyway. Just the variety. You've got not just GTs, but I want a picture with one of the big bumphead parrotfish.
Yeah.
They're just
those
cool.
things are cool.
The triggers. If I went there, I would like to get like the Jack Slam, like get a GT, get a blue trevally, and a what they call the golden trevallies. I think the blue trevally look cooler than the GTs. GTs are huge and they're crazy strong, but everyone says the same thing about blue trevallies. They're like, if a blue trevally grew to be as big as a GT, they wouldn't be catchable.
What's the top end of a GT?
Like 100 plus.
Okay.
I mean, look at a blue trevally though. Like they're wicked,
cool.
But they top out at, I don't roughly know, but the biggest one I've ever seen is probably like 35 pounds.
Yeah, it was funny because over here you catch a Jack Crevalle, it's sick. You catch a Jack Crevalle. Like a big one. It's not that much different than a GT, but over here they're like trash. And over
they
there,
also the Seychelles. It's not like one of the destination fish that people go for, but they have those coral trout.
I think aren't they like 6 different colors or something?
They're like insane.
Rainbow fish.
Yeah, I don't even know how to describe. Like, the markings on them don't even look real.
Oh, that's not what I'm thinking. I think the parrotfish is what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
you're probably thinking of parrots. But, like, coral trout, they come in a variety of colors, but, like, they're one of those fish that their markings are neon colors.
Yeah.
So it looks like they look like a cartoon.
Yeah.
And then you got triggers and GTs, obviously. But Harry told me, he said one particular day he wasn't feeling that great. And he asked one of the guys, like, you know, you pretty much, when you're out there, you have one guide for every 2 anglers. And one guy wanted to stay on the boat and rest for the day. And Harry was like, yeah, I'm not feeling super great, but I'll go out for the morning and I'll just come back and rest this evening. And he said, well, hey, can you take me over to that island? Like, you could see the flat from the boat. And he said, I want to fish around that rock reef. And he's like, okay. So they dropped him off on the rock reef, and it wasn't rocks. The reef moved when they got there. It was just like 10,000 bonefish.
Wow.
Just covering the flat. He said he caught 35 before lunchtime and was done.
The inherent problem with...
And then you got Indo-Pacific permit over there, too, which is pretty cool.
But the inherent problem with all this is you basically have to save up your entire life to do something like this. And then you do it once and it's over. And it's like, well, unless you hit the lottery or get hella money from somewhere, you're not going to be able to do it again.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the part about all this that sucks.
That's the thing with the Seychelles is, like, I mean, I know if I went, I would want to go back. But, like, out of all the trips, that's, like, my number 1 and 2. I feel like if I went once, I would have caught enough fish to be like...
You got to hope you, like, hit a home run so you don't have to come back.
I just feel like the fishing is so good in both of those destinations that even a mishit is still going to be, like, a phenomenal trip.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I feel with these. It's like you either have to hit a home run and, like...
It's kind of how the Amazon was, too. It's like...
Got to hit a home run and that, like, scratches the itch and you can say you're done, you never go back. Or you do that and then you're like, got to get some more of that, got to go back. Yeah. So it could go either way. But my number 2 is Goliath tigerfish.
Yeah, they were consideration.
The reason why it's so high on the list is I feel like if I go to do it, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
So I'm saving that
either
towards
the weather,
the weather,
the climate, just in general.
The
195 degrees every day.
Yeah, and the part where you could get kidnapped.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, the other side about that.
Are you the demographic that they're trying to kidnap?
I don't know if they can lift me. So just sit down. No. Come get me.
They're in Africa, right?
Yeah. So I'm like 5.
14 of them.
Yeah. So relax. Relax. That's not. No, it's. The areas are fairly legit. David and I were looking into this.
All those places where you have to, like, sort of assimilate with a native tribe for the week. I'm not saying you can't go with a lodge, but, like, all the places, all the things, how to describe it, all the shows that take you to go fish for tigerfish, they're like, oh, I hung out with this native tribe for, like, 4 days. I'm like, that's only so much of that is real.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Like,
no, these are, like... Most of these places are English speaking. You're not like
tigerfish lodges.
Yeah, you're not in the middle of nowhere. But David and I got looking into this.
Once you leave the lodge,
right? It's very much like Mexico, and if you get outside of the resort area,
we're not coming to help you.
Problems. Yeah. So David and I looked into it. It's actually not expensive. Like you can stay at one of these lodges in. Where is it? I can't remember right now, but you can stay there for a week for like $750, and it's like a hut like a pole, one of the building like a stilt building, but it's legit. There's all the amenities there. You're right down the road from like you can DIY this if you really wanted to. I think it's just down from Victoria Falls. It might be Zimbabwe or something like that. But if you cross the river, you're dead. So that was, I talked to a guy that did it, and he very much told me not to go off of the property. So that's one of those ones where it's like there's perceived danger and then there's actual danger. Like,
and is this the one that was like almost sheer death, or is number 1 sheer death?
No, this is the dangerous one. The other one, you can probably guess what it is.
Yeah,
but
I know what number 1 for you is.
But Goliath tigerfish, they get big, they have giant teeth.
They jump
they're
like
gnarly,
crazy.
right? And it's like in the world of monster fish anglers, it's like top of the list. But there's this guy I follow that lives there and like guides for them, and this dude has like lesions on his skin and like boil, like the parasites are nothing to mess with.
Yeah.
This dude has like bot flies and shit. He's in rough shape, but yeah, just from like a danger standpoint of like when I'm gonna be risking the most.
That's political socio danger as opposed to environmental danger.
Yeah,
too.
If anybody were to successfully kidnap me, I'm screwed because we don't have any money. So yeah, but that's my number 2. It's just something I hope I do before I die. I'd love. And another Jeremy Wade inspired thing. He went to Africa for like a month. The Congo, I think, is where he got his. But giant one, same deal. Yeah. But anyway, what's yours?
Number 1, nothing will ever dethrone it. The Golden Dorado.
Yeah. Yeah.
Been number 1 forever.
Yeah.
Saw that video Devil's Gold like 15 years ago and have wanted to do it ever since. Had a trip lined up with Harry and then he passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing was I was like second in command on the trip. You know, we were essentially the hosts, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And Harry, I'd been tying flies for him for trips for going on like 8 years, and I was graduating high school, and it's like, hey, you know, Harry was a really good friend of mine, and he said, here's what I'm going to do. You know, we've got this lodge that's courting me. It was actually Iberia Lodge where our buddy Corey's getting ready to go to. Same exact lodge.
Was.
Sorry, Corey. Sucks that it got canceled, but that is the issue.
It got
with
postponed.
the marsh.
He's going next year. But yeah, that's rough.
Anyway, yeah, so it was that lodge. They were courting Harry because Harry had a great reputation of being able to get a pile of trips together every year, and they gave Harry just a stupid deal. It was stupid cheap. And Harry said, hey, I don't fly Delta anymore. I got all these miles. Take them.
Right.
We were going to fly separate. We had everything already figured out. We were flying to Buenos Aires separate. We were staying in Buenos Aires a day and then go.
Right.
Everything was lined up. Harry was on his way back from fishing in Brazil and passed away in Buenos Aires. Crazy.
Rough.
Yep.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Definitely 100%. Anybody that knew Harry, anybody local that's listening to it, I told many people this out of all the times I've met Harry, anybody that's ever known him, he had to pass away to sleep because death was not going to take him when he was alive.
Yeah.
Death would not come after him when Harry was alive. He was too much of a pain in everyone's ass. But anyway, back to the Dorado. They're just one of the most incredible fish on the planet.
Yeah.
I mean, he had been 4 or 5 times to different places to catch them. They're unbelievably powerful. You can catch them a variety of ways. You can catch them in marshes from flat skiffs, targeting schooling fish. They're beautiful fish, like fluorescent yellow. They're a species of piranha.
Yeah.
They're just crazy. I mean, you can catch them in these unbelievable, what look like trout streams, hundreds of miles up a river that take you 3 days to navigate to get up there.
Yeah.
And then you're targeting 30-pounders in 16 inches of water.
That's why it made my number 5 is those marsh fish, because it looks so much like the marshes here.
It's like fishing Chickahominy Lake.
Yeah. You're out there. It's just, I don't know. It'd be cool to experience. I'm right there with you. Yeah. Either one would be awesome.
Yeah, and then they the problem, he did tell me, when he was younger, he did the stuff in the mountains, and he said, "You'll never do it again." He said, "You'll do it once." He said, "Now the fishing is unbelievable, but he said everything that's there, including plants, can kill you.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, every bug that's flying is poisonous. Everything that's crawling can bite you and kill you. He's like, everybody has like multiple doses of stuff to protect you. He said there's so much crap that can kill you. Waterborne illnesses that are a problem. It's 98 degrees every day, and if 200% humidity is possible, that's what you got. And it's just hell to get there. He's like, you have to take a little itty bitty dugout canoe, like four different canoes with motors on them, and it's not just the guides. Like, if you're doing this, you are helping get this boat up the river for 4 days.
Is that the one where they're like going up the rapids with it? The boats are so long, they like run it up, then they hop out the front.
Everyone gets out the front, starts pulling it. They're like moving rocks out the river to slide the boat up, and I mean, it is. He said it's legitimately like 5 of the worst days of your life, but the fishing is so good you don't care.
Yeah.
Or you could go to the lodge at the marsh and eat steak every night and swim in the pool in the middle of the day because it's so hot you just fish morning and evening. But like, you can do it that way, but you don't catch as big of ones. But the thing is, some of those lodges, you have the option to go to that place below the dam where there's like those 50-pounders.
That's the ones that are where they're like coming out of the water and they're like,
well, they're like
around.
50 pounds. They can't even jump anymore. They're just like whales trying.
My
to come
brain
out.
tells me to go where you can almost die. That I don't know. It's all about the experience.
The cool thing is that you've got the pacu up there too.
Yeah.
You've got those leopard catfish are in the river.
Mm-hmm.
That's at the upper side. They've got these weird little freshwater stingrays that you can catch on a fly. Like, they'll swim over and like lay down on it and stuff.
Yeah.
They've got some cool stuff up there. And the Dorado it's been number one forever, and it always will be.
Yeah.
Like, I will go 100%.
And they have teeth, which is like,
oh, they demolish everything.
Yeah, it's
if you're doing it on spinning gear, they only recommend plugs that have a through wire harness because they just crack plastic plugs. Yeah. Most guys bring like old like wood choppers and like old wooden plugs.
Yeah.
They're not particularly picky, but like the flies I used to tie for Harry, he didn't want anything that didn't have synthetics in it. He's like, it needs to be synthetic because all natural material like bucktail, marabou, they just shred it. One fish is shredded.
Yeah.
You use like a little 8-inch piece of like titanium bite wire, and they'll even occasionally after like 5 fish, you gotta retie that.
Wow.
They're just knife blades in their mouth.
Yeah, dude. That's like starting the brand and like doing the podcast and doing the show and like all that. I just hope it at some point facilitates the ability to do these things.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're doing it ourselves and it's expensive. But it's just, I hope that somewhere down the line I have the ability to film that and fish that and I don't know, have my hand in that pot somehow, but we'll see. But yeah, Golden Dorado, amazing.
I mean, that's just coming from Harry, who's fished for and caught just about every crazy species on the planet. He just said they are like a top 5 sport fish on the whole planet.
Well, and you can get them like a couple different ways, which is cool.
I mean, you can really do it any way you want to do it.
Yeah. But Golden Dorado made both of our lists, so I think that's easy to understand why. My number one, it's going to be kind of an all-encompassing thing. You know what it is. It's the Amazon with Arapaima at the top of the list there.
That's where I had Amazon with peacocks, but then while I was thinking about it, I'm like, but you got wolffish.
It's literally written down right here. Wolffish, Lau Lau, which is the Paraiba.
Are the Lau Lau the ones that are really rare or really hard to target?
No.
They're not?
No. They're the biggest catfish species ever, I think.
Yeah.
It's the ones the guys are out there fishing
with. They get bigger than those Mekongs?
Well, no. Mekongs I don't think are predatory. I think they're eating grasses and stuff. But Paraiba are...
But Lau Lau and a Paraiba are the same thing.
Yeah, I think Paraiba is like the English name or whatever, you know. And like Lau Lau is
like the South American
or the
local
native,
name.
Local name. But yeah, those things get a couple 100 pounds, massive.
They look kind of like a gooch too, the big shovel head and They got like a shark tail.
They're like the upscale Pokemon version of a blue cat.
Yeah.
But the wolffish it's all part of the Amazon experience, man. Wolffish.
Well, they got those vampire fish too. What are they? Arowana?
No, arowana is the. Arowana is different. They have the same.
They're there too, aren't they?
Yeah, they have the same upward hinging mouth. What are those fish called?
I'll find it. Hold on.
It's
vampire fish.
It's similar to Piraru. Payara. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're another like super popular fly target. You catch those Payara like at the base of like the biggest rapid you can find.
Which is so weird.
Well,
like you wouldn't think that.
No,
they
but
don't
like that's
look
the crazy thing about the Amazon too, though. It's like let's go down to the bottom of the Amazon where there's pink dolphins and peacock bass everywhere, and then let's go hundreds of miles to the west.
Yeah.
And there's arapaima and wolffish, and then let's go further west, and now we're getting into rocky rapids, and there's arowana and like I mean, just you can go any direction. There's technically golden dorado in the Amazon basin. They're on the northern half of it.
It's something about the coming from living around swamps here, like something about having a jungle with rapids in it. It makes sense from like a waterfall standpoint, but like having actual large scale rapids in a jungle doesn't make sense from like what we've grown up.
That's
around.
the other thing with like the draw to the Amazon. I think for us and people like that's his number one destination too. I know.
Yeah,
it's like we grew up fishing swamps,
like similar things.
Yeah,
you know,
not saying anything we have is close to the Amazon, but like the environment, I feel like you'd be comfortable fishing it.
The correlation is there. You know, you have our bowfin to their wolffish. You have our gar maybe to their arapaima. You have
peacock to largemouth.
Peacock to largemouth. Blue cat to lau lau. I mean, the similarities are totally there. It's just like taking it to the extreme, basically. Yeah. But arapaima, man, that
you could maybe say like arowana would be like a chain pickerel.
Yeah.
That would be
something like that. Either way, there's
I'm trying to think of their like contrasting species in our swamp. Vicious. Those arowana, from what they say, they are like you're in the nastiest water, and as soon as they see something, they kill it.
Arowana or a payara?
Payara. Sorry, payara.
Actually, arowana is popular in the aquarium trade. I had one when I was in high school. They're super cool. They have like blue arowana, silver arowana. There's like 5 or 6 species.
They're kind of like a bowfin mixed with arapaima, right?
What?
Arowanas. Like they have the
long fins. Yeah. I mean, I could see that from a bowfin.
But then they have like a payara head.
Yeah. They have that upward hinging mouth. A lot of stuff in like the jungle feeds on the surface, so they have those upward hinging mouths. But yeah, man, arapaima, just going to those oxbow lakes and fishing those big. I don't know how we'll ever do any of this, but just that is one of them.
Those fly outfitters that are doing it now in some of those lakes, like it's sight fishing, but it's not.
Yeah.
So they're out basically just drifting around in the lake, and one surfaces within like casting distance.
Yeah.
Like, throw it.
Yeah.
You throw it 20 feet in front of it, strip it to it. A lot of times they eat it.
Yeah.
And when you're waiting for one to surface, you're just kind of dredging a fly on the bottom, and they apparently have incredibly good eyesight because they can see in that black water, and they crush it.
The funny thing is that Jakob Wagner dude that has that Goonch world record, he also has a world record for arapaima.
Oh, line class?
No.
Or all tackle?
All tackle. Yeah, that guy...
Big baller.
Well, I don't want to talk bad about the dude. My understanding is he comes from money, which money will facilitate your wildest dreams. But, yeah, that dude... Let's see. Jakob...
Multiple all tackles. That's pretty baller, though.
Yeah. You're going to know one of those this spring. I'm going to add a couple more to my list. Yeah, so Jakob Wagner. Let's see. All tackle arapaima, 339 pounds, 8 ounces. Amazonia, Ecuador, caught in 2010. All tackle sway catfish, SWAI. Thailand, 46 pounds, 15 ounces. All tackle giant Tanganyika cichlid, 6 pounds 7 ounces. Tanzania. All these are caught in the 2010-2009 standpoint. Those are 3 that are
those sway catfish.
Mm-hmm.
They look like a Mekong.
Okay.
They got the big old eyes.
Yeah. And then all tackle goonch from 2009, 165 pounds 5 ounces. So this dude, March, how is this possible? This dude, May 2nd, 2009, he was in Tanzania, and he caught that cichlid. And then 7 days later, he caught an all-tackle world record in Thailand. So he went from Tanzania. Is that Africa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Africa to Central Asia, or Thailand is Pacific.
Pacific,
yeah. So
Pacific Islands.
7 days he went to 2 separate continents. And then 2010, he's in the Amazon. So, like I said, money helps. But then
helps.
Those are 4 current world records. He has 3 retired. He had
that have been beaten.
Yeah, he had the all tackle Wells, and he caught in
Jesus.
2009, 242 pounds 8 ounces. The all tackle.
Not only that, I mean, this dude's got all tackles for some of the biggest species on the planet.
Yeah, I think that, just from a pure speculative standpoint, I think that's somebody with a lot of money and a certified scale and paying people to help him. Because a lot of those guys catch the fish and they release it.
Yeah.
I think they're like paying and I've heard that Arapaima died. Like, I think this dude like facilitated that. It's, you know what I mean? But whatever.
Well, I mean, a lot of people that go on these trips don't have the certified scales and don't have the IGFA stuff. So if you go on the trip with the sole purpose of the IGFA world records, then a lot of times you might be one of the only people that's ever tried it too.
Yeah. Look up Kokuni.
How you spell it?
Kokuni. He had the all tackle world record for that, 66 pounds 2 ounces. Kokuni. Gotcha. From the Congo.
How big was it?
66 pounds 2 ounces.
There it is, right there.
Huh.
Cool looking catfish.
It's weird. That's actually still the world record. So he has 5 current world records and 2 retired.
Honestly, it looks like a little bitty Lau.
Yeah.
Look at it.
One of his retired records is one that he broke his own record.
Huh.
One of his retired records is also an Arapaima. Is 286 pounds 9 ounces.
Yeah, those things just
caught
look
in
like
Brazil.
A little mini Lau.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So this dude has 5 current world records, 2 retired, and one of the retired is only retired because he broke it with a fish that was roughly 70 or so pounds heavier than his.
Yeah,
So,
I'm looking at pictures of those big Lau catfish right now. Those things
Paraíba.
Yeah. I mean, things are nuts. Man.
Yeah, they literally fish on them, or fish for them with like 50 wides and stuff.
Aren't they like insanely strong?
Yeah.
What everybody says?
Yeah. So they're caught in more of, from what I understand, more
it's
of
like a flathead and a shark.
Yeah.
Mixed.
They're caught in more of the like wider sections of the Amazon, like the wider river sections, and it's super deep. So they're putting a bait on the bottom where in the Amazon in that area it's heavy current. You're dealing with a fish of that size with that type of tail structure.
I mean, it's essentially you're sturgeon fishing at that point. Like white sturgeon fishing.
Yeah. But if you look at the areas in which they're all huge. The areas in which they're caught is deep, fast
This is the
water.
one that gets me though, is like how skinny they get at the tail.
Well, that it only looks like that because half
I
the
guess
fish
you're
is
right.
in the water. But
just their build is wild.
Yeah.
They're so big at their shoulders.
Yeah. It's just one of those things, man. The Amazon is like, it's like a dozen separate trips that you can make. You got the
That's what I'm saying.
peacocks,
You
the
got all
wolffish.
those miles of water, and like the variety changes so much.
Yep.
Hell, at the bottom of the Amazon, you got those giant freaking stingrays.
Mm-hmm. No.
Aren't they there?
No, those are in the Mekong Delta.
Excuse me.
I'm sure
Sorry,
that
folks.
sounds great.
Sorry about that, folks. But
Sorry about
they
that, folks.
have
Just
giant
cough in your ear.
Amazon. They have big stingrays in Amazon.
Yeah, they have a version.
They're not as big as those
I think
ones.
they're short tail stingrays or something
Yeah.
like that. That actually didn't make my list, even though I'd really like to do it. Problem is,
the fight sucks.
yeah.
Like I don't even want to catch one. Like I hate catching regular stingrays in the surf.
Well,
I don't want to catch one that's 8 feet across.
There's multiple problems with it. The fish itself, I find to be cool, giant freshwater stingray, but the fight sucks. You're literally fighting it on like super heavy tackle for hours.
Oh, and it's not even the fight. The thing's just laying on the bottom.
Right.
You're pulling on it.
I mean, Jeremy Wade had a rod explode in his. Like you're just like hooking into the bottom of the river. Mm-hmm. But on top of that, every photo you get is you and the fish like in a landing net and like 19 other people in the photo. Yeah. So it's like, on the plus side, it's relatively cheap because it's in that Thailand sort of area where the snakehead and all that stuff, Malaysia, So it's not that expensive of a trip, but I have problems with that. That's why I didn't really make any of my lists. If I run out of things to do, maybe I'll do that. But
yeah, that's one that would be cool to do, but it's not going to hurt my feelings if I don't do it.
Right. But that is our list. Anything you can think of that is surprising that didn't make either one?
No, I mean, I think we touched on all the ones that were like just outside of the list, or obviously the honorable mentions.
Yeah, the only ones that came to mind were it was like the Panama stuff, like those, or the rooster fish on the beach down in Mexico.
Maybe like Patagonia.
Baja. Yeah, Jurassic Lake or whatever.
The same thing with Patagonia is like, that's the same thing with Alaska to me. It's like trout fishing. I mean, it's awesome. I would like to go to Tierra del Fuego. Those sea run browns are pretty cool.
Brown trout through the ice up on the Great Lakes.
Or like a New Zealand brown trout. Those big, huge ones that eat dry flies.
That would be cool. Yeah. The ice fishing's something that I haven't done, but I want to do it with those big brown trout. That didn't make the bucket list because I could see myself end up doing it
the other one
this
was,
winter.
Like Canadian pike.
Yeah.
Like Gangler's Lodge and stuff up there.
Alaska.
Where we go up there and do those crazy big pike.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to do pike, like go to Sweden, catch those freaks that are way bigger.
Yeah. I don't know. I would like to do that ice fishing stuff.
Oh, that's the other thing with the Mongolia. You get the Amur pike. Amur, A-M-U-R. But yeah, it's a pike species that lives in those rivers.
Okay.
They're crazy looking.
Yeah, but I don't know. We'll see how many of these happen in recent years. David seems to think we're going to the Amazon this year, which would be cool, but I don't know how far out you have to plan that type of thing. That's the only reason I'm skeptical.
Yeah, but look at those Amur pike.
Oh, yeah.
They're like a leopard muskie.
Yeah. They're cool.
Pretty cool looking.
They look like that fish that was going around. It was like photoshopped or whatever. Had the leopard print on it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's... All of mine were like true destination things. That's why like some stuff in Canada didn't make it. That's why Alaska didn't make it. Like, I don't know. If I'm going to say destinations, like I was telling her, Kamchatka Peninsula in Russia would be awesome. First off, it's in Russia, so it's probably not going to happen. But second off, I just don't feel like it's that much crazier than Alaska.
Yeah.
Like, it's big trout.
Yeah.
Cool, but I just don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think that'll do it. That is our bucket list as it stands in February.
Subject to change, probably.
February of 2023. Hopefully I knock that tarpon off this year. I need to get that thing done. It's just, like I said, with this entire long list with Amazon and everything, tarpon is still at the top in my heart.
Definitely the most obtainable.
Yeah. Need to get... It's difficult, too, because I've already tangled into them. Quick story before we go. Harley and I were fishing with Marty Mood up in Pensacola. They were fishing these fish under a bridge. I don't think the fishery exists anymore because they've built another bridge. I think that kind of messed it all up. But we're literally out there at midnight, 3 in the morning. She is in a kayak. I'm in a kayak. And I'm literally... and Marty did the same thing for me, but he had to... like work or something, so he wasn't out there the whole trip. So like the last 2 nights, she's out there. We're literally watching these like 6 or 7 foot long tarpon swim just inside the light line, and their freaking eyeballs are like that big. So she's like calling the fish for me, and they're like swimming by. Here comes one. It's like, all right, perfect. I look at stuff in my life, and it almost doesn't seem like it really happened. Like, you know, like. I don't know if I'd do that now. Like, that's spooky. Yeah. Like, and just knowing the size of the sharks that are there, like, or like everything that could have went wrong in that situation, hooking one underneath, rolling the kayak, just I don't know. Just the fact that those fish were like a foot under the surface, and they're like right there.
Yeah.
Like, they're right there. You can see their pupil and their eyeball. Just thinking back about that, it's like hard to. So, I do this with a lot of stuff that I've done. I look back and like, I don't know if I'd do that now. That is just, I don't know. But it was cool. So Harley was out there in a Coosa, Jackson kayak Coosa, like sitting there calling the fish out, and I'm throwing these hoagies trying to catch them. But that was the night I put the treble hook in my thumb. So we got to go back to the parking lot and rip that out of my thumb instead of going to the hospital at 3 a.m. So... good times.
Meeting Florida man in person.
Yep. But anyway, that'll do it for us. If you're listening, watch. If you're watching, listen. You can find the podcast on YouTube, HRWT Studios. You can find it on all of your podcast listening networks, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. I think it's on Pandora or iHeartRadio too, if anybody still uses that. Go to haverodswilltravel.com. It has a podcast tab with all the podcasts on it, so you can watch ours. You can watch the Boundless Pursuit podcast with David, and then the podcast that I do with David. And there's a bunch of articles from a bunch of our contributors, so check it out. And then follow the HRWT Studios Facebook page.
And Instagram.
And just look us up on your social media.
We're everywhere.
Help. Share this with your friends.
We need your help.
How forceful do I have to be? I'm going to come to your house. No, I'm just kidding. Just joking. No, I'm not. Share this with your friends. Help it grow. That's all I got to say. Do you have anything else?
That was good.
All right, folks, thanks for hanging out and listening to us. Hopefully you're on your way to catch some fish right now, and if you are, best of luck to us.
Yep.
But
we'll see you on episode 6.
What did you just switch to?
Maybe not.
Harley, we almost made it to the end of the... Harley's over here on the switcher hitting the wrong buttons. Now you have it on Grant. Grant's not even talking. God, if you're listening to this, pay no mind. But
it's one of those times where it's better to listen than it is to watch.
Yeah, we're all learning here. It's fine. I kept every once in a while the screen would go black, and I'm like, "What is happening?" And it's just Harley just doing a terrible job of it. It's fine. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. We will catch you next time. This has been the Peelin Drag podcast. We'll see you later.
Thanks for hanging out.